From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew.
Hello and welcome to episode 254 of the Blind Android Users Podcast. I'm Ed Green and I'm joined today by my co-hosts Warren Carr, Karine Kawan and Sally Kunders. And we're coming to you on Saturday, the 18th of October, 2025. It's a busy one this week, folks. In our Android Basics section, we're including a feature that we've been asked for a long time, and that is how to set up an Android phone as a beginner from scratch. In our Spotlight section, we talk about the release of quarterly platform release 2 beta 3 from Google, and allied to that, some improvements that Google have made to anti-scam protections. In our App of the Week, Jacob Kruger brings us a demo of an app called Umsizi, which is a reader offering you support for many South African languages. And we close with the tip of the week from Warren, who shows us how to prioritise Google messages by pinning them to the top of your conversation list. Well, how are we all, folks? Sally, how are you?
Well, I'm doing great and kind of getting cold these days, I guess. The weather is really not helping, and really great to have you back, Ed. How's everything?
Oh, thanks very much. It's good to be back. All is well. Although I've been a bit under the weather this week, a little bit of COVID and a lung infection, but that's all on the mend now. So yeah, it's a little bit rough, but all fine, and all is generally well here. So it's great to be back on the podcast. Warren, how are you?
I'm doing good, and it's nice to see you back, Ed. I think we've missed you for a long time. Was it April that you were gone? And by the way, folks, we're just so thankful to God that, Katie's feeling better because that was the reason she wasn't feeling too good. And so it's good news that Katie's feeling better. So we're happy to have both back. And of course, Katie's not here with us on the podcast, has never been, but at least Ed is back. So we're so thankful to God for making Katie feel better. So other than that, Ed, I'm doing okay. It's been kind of cold. And then yesterday, though, we got good weather. And today, I think we're also going to be like maybe 57. I mean, one morning we were 29 degrees on Wednesday. My pumpkin's kind of like getting frozen out there and all that good stuff. Tomatoes dying on the vine. Other than that, I'm doing okay. It's a beautiful week. Cloudy out there. We may have some rain somewhere in the 50s today.
Yeah, I think the last episode I was on was episode 235. So it's quite some time since I've been on. And yeah, Katie Kins is doing a lot better. Thanks. And hope the pumpkins survive for Halloween. Karine, how are you? How are the Khdood?
First, welcome back. And actually, I'm doing well. Everything is going well here. It's cool. The weather is cool. We're no longer having hot weather, and so which is great. And yeah, but until now we don't have rain. Actually, we had a little bit of rain before, but actually we are still just having some cold weather, but no rain. That's good.
Oh, good. Glad to hear all is well. And yeah, thanks very much. As I say, great to be back.
And now, the announcement segment. This is a segment dedicated to things we want you to be in the know. And now for this week's episode, here's your announcements.
Now we turn to our announcement section. Warren, do you have anything for us?
Indeed, we have an announcement, and that has to do with our upcoming episode, which is our open listener session. This is a session where you guys, our listeners, join us and we talk about whatever's under the sun. And most importantly, just like we started back in July, we're also inviting developers on here. So if you have any questions for some developers that you've been meaning to ask or you haven't had an answer to, asking either on our email list or whatever, this would be your opportunity to get to talk to such a developer. And that comes up next week, the 25th of October. That's on Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Of course, I always use that UK time as an anchor for, where people could gauge their time from. So it's going to be 5 p.m. local time in the UK. So maybe you could translate that to your own time zones from there. I know Sally's usually my time guy. Sally, could you give us a little rundown of what that translates to in the different regions, say in the Middle East, India, and all that other places around the world?
So the upper listener session will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Europe, like 6 p.m. will be Central Europe, 7 p.m. will be Eastern Europe, and 9:30 the Indian time zone.
And do be nice to the developers. Obviously constructive, but be kind to them. They don't have to come on a Saturday. So, yeah, I'm sure it'll be a good session.
Well, if you want to roast them, I think those guys are good sports, right? So, but yeah, seriously, if you have any problems, any questions that you want to ask them, if your favorite developers in there or some of those that we've interviewed in the past, those are the ones that we're reaching out to. And so if you have any questions about the apps that you are not either happy with or have not found some satisfaction with whatever is going on, feel free to ask those developers. I'm sure they wouldn't mind it. They like getting grilled.
And we'll be putting the links out on social media later in the week, won't we?
Yeah, definitely. So we will be posting the links on Wednesday. That would be the 23rd. We don't want it to get lost in the clutter. So on the 23rd of October, we'll be putting all the links on there on our email group, Telegram group. And do we still have Facebook or Bookface?
We do have Bookface. We do. We have quite a lot of members on Bookface. It's a sort of organically growing, if not particularly active group. So it is slowly increasing.
There we go. So if you are on Facebook, Ed would like to call it Bookface. It'll also be on there. And by the way, guys, remember we have a Facebook page. So if you would like to interact with us there, also make sure to do that. I'm not on there, but at least, all these great people are on there. So get on that Bookface, shall we?
Yeah, and the link's in the show notes to subscribe to our Bookface group if that's what you want to do.
Exactly, and I'll try my best to greet you guys in your local language if you come around. Thank you.
And I'll do my best to say cheeks in your local language as well.
Exactly, Munda. So we got the linguists here. Sally would greet you in your own language, and Ed would tell you what the word cheeks translate to in your language. In other words, you don't know what that is. So depend on Ed to tell you what that is.
Excellent.
And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics.
Now we move on to our Android Basics section. As I said at the start, we have had requests for a while now for a setup guide, probably aimed at beginners, but how you would set up an Android phone. We cover this sometimes during the unboxings of phones and tablets, but it's almost incidental to describing the device. So we have now done a dedicated demonstration, which John will take us through.
Hello, and welcome to this demonstration of how to set up an Android phone. I'm going to be using a Pixel 10 Pro XL in this demonstration, but the process on most Android phones should be pretty similar. I have the phone with me right here and it's powered off, I'm going to long press the side key to turn it on. On Pixel devices, this is on the right side near the top, above the volume keys. On most other manufacturer devices, the volume keys are above the power key, but on Pixels, it's at the top, so I'm going to press and hold that until I feel a vibration. Then I'm going to let go. I had to hold it for about 2 or 3 seconds. It should be booting up now, and the thing about Pixels is I'm feeling a vibration now. There's a slight vibration about once every 3 seconds, and what that means is that the screen is lit up and it's ready for you to start setting up your phone. And how you turn on TalkBack is you press and hold both volume keys for 3 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and press both of those volume keys now.
Release the volume keys. To turn on TalkBack, press and hold both volume keys again for 3 seconds.
So if you didn't hear that message, it's told you to release the keys and press and hold them again, just to ensure you did not accidentally do it. We're not accidentally doing this. We want to turn on TalkBack, so I'm going to press and hold them again. Still holding them.
TalkBack on. Welcome to TalkBack. Welcome to TalkBack. Page 1 of 5. TalkBack provides spoken feedback so that you can use your device without looking at the screen. TalkBack can be helpful for people who have difficulty seeing the screen. If you want to quickly turn TalkBack on or off using your volume keys, you can set up a shortcut in TalkBack settings, then TalkBack shortcut. When TalkBack is on, the focused item on the screen is spoken out loud. Swiping right will move to the next item, and swiping left will move to the previous item. Swipe right now to find the next button.
So now we're in the TalkBack tutorial, and if you want to continue with it, go right ahead, but I'm going to skip it, so I'm going to swipe right.
Next button. Double tap to activate.
And I'm going to swipe right again.
Finish tutorial button. Double tap to activate.
And I'm going to double tap here to get out of the tutorial.
Finished reviewing. You can come back to the tutorial anytime in TalkBack settings. Keep reviewing button. Finish button. Double tap to activate. Allow Android Accessibility Suite to send you notifications. Allow button. Double tap to activate.
I confirmed that I wanted to leave the tutorial, and then I got a pop-up asking for notification access for TalkBack. You can accept or decline. I will accept this.
Welcome to your Pixel. Emergency call button. Double tap to activate.
And now we are on the startup screen, and what I'm going to do is raise the volume first because it comes relatively low. The way you adjust the accessibility volume, which on an Android phone is the volume of speech, which is separate from media volume. You hold one finger on the screen and then you press the volume keys while your finger's on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and raise that.
Animation. Image. Double tap to resume.
So I've touched the phone screen. My finger's still there. I'm going to raise the volume.
Accessibility volume set to 64%.
Just do it maybe one more.
Accessibility volume set to 71%.
So it takes a second to tell you the volume after you've adjusted it. Now that I have the volume where I want it, I'm going to increase the speech rate just a little. And to do this, you have to change the reading control. You do this by swiping up or swiping down with 3 fingers. That's one of the gestures you can use to change the reading control. And if you're coming from iOS, the reading control is very similar to the rotor. So instead of twisting 2 fingers, you would just swipe up or down with 3 fingers. I'm going to swipe up with 3 fingers.
Speech rate. Swipe up or swipe down to adjust the setting.
And as you heard, I can swipe up or down to adjust the setting, so I'm just going to raise it a couple levels.
Speech rate 110%. Speech rate 121%. Swipe up with 3 fingers or swipe down with 3 fingers to select a different setting.
As you heard, it's telling me how to adjust the rotor, and I'm actually going to find controls here.
Characters. Words. Lines. Paragraphs. Headings. Controls. Swipe up or swipe down to read by controls.
Now, unfortunately, you cannot turn off hints at this point. You have to get your phone completely set up and then go into TalkBack settings. So we'll have to deal with hints during this demonstration. The reason I put it on controls is just to make it easier to get to the buttons on the screen. It's just a preference I have. You can also get to the buttons by exploring the screen or by swiping through all items on the screen. And now we're still on the initial setup screen. So I'm just going to swipe through these items to show you what's here. You can also explore the screen with Explore by Touch if you want to.
Emergency call button. Device info button. Accessibility button. Get started button. Double tap to activate.
So those are your options here. Before I hit get started, I'm going to go ahead and go into the accessibility just to show you what you can change if you want to before you start setup.
Accessibility button. Accessibility. Accessibility. 1 of 4 in list 4 items. Choose your language button. Double tap to activate.
So you could change your language here if you want to.
Vision settings 2 of 4. Double tap to activate.
I'm going to go into this in a minute, but let's keep exploring the screen.
Set up with your voice 3 of 4. Double tap to activate.
So there's an option to set up with your voice.
Set up with simple view 4 of 4. Double tap to activate.
And there's simple view. So I'm going to go back to the vision settings to see what we have in there.
Set up with your voice 3 of 4. Double tap to activate. Vision settings 2 of 4. Vision settings. Vision settings. You can customize this device to fit your needs. These accessibility features can be changed later in settings. 1 of 7 in list 7 items.
And here's what we have.
Display size and text 2 of 7. Double tap to activate.
You could change that.
Brightness level 63%. 3 of 7. Double tap to activate.
I'm actually going to go in here and change this.
Brightness 63%. Display brightness. Slider out of list. Swipe up or swipe down to adjust.
So as you heard, it says swipe up or down to adjust. And this is how you can adjust sliders in Android. So I'm going to swipe up.
68%, 73%, 78%, 88%, 98%, 100%.
I just put it all the way up. And to back out of a screen in Android, the default gesture is to swipe down then left, which is in what we call angle gestures. So you would start the swipe down and then you would turn to the left and finish the swipe going left, all in one motion. But also we do have navigation buttons at the bottom of the screen. So at the bottom left,
Back button, window navigation bar. Double tap to activate. Double tap and hold to long press.
you will find a back button. So I'm just going to double tap here.
Vision settings. Brightness level 100%. 3 of 7 in list 7 items. Double tap to activate.
So let's see what else we have here.
Adaptive brightness on. Switch 4 of 7. Double adaptive brightness off. Switch. Double tap to activate.
So I actually turned that off so that it won't adjust automatically.
Magnification. Zoom in on screen 5 of 7. Double tap to activate.
Now you can turn on magnification here so that you can use it during setup. I'm going to do that.
Magnification. Magnification. Quickly zoom in on the screen to make content larger. 1 of 6 in list 6 items. Magnification animation. Options. Magnification shortcut off. 4. Magnification shortcut. Magnification shortcut. 1 of 4 in list 4 items.
So here's where you could change what you want the shortcut to be.
Accessibility button. Volume keys. Advanced. 4. Triple tap. Not checked. Check box. Quickly tap the screen 3 times. Triple tap. Checked. Check box. Quickly tap the screen 3 times. This may slow down your device. Double tap to activate.
So I like triple tap. It's hidden under the advanced, as you heard. And the reason it says it may slow down your device is because if you're a TalkBack user, when you double tap, it's going to take a split second to actually activate the item because it doesn't know if you're only double tapping or if you're triple tapping. So it waits a split second before it actually activates it, but it's not enough to bother me. So that's what I like to have enabled. Backing out of here.
Magnification. Magnification short. Vision settings. Magnification. Zoom in on screen. 5 of 7. In list. 7 items. Double tap to activate.
Back on this vision settings screen, we also have
Select to speak. Tap items on your screen to hear them read aloud. 6 of 7. Double tap to activate.
this is a good option if you have low vision or have trouble reading, because you can still use your phone without having to use TalkBack controls. But if you want a specific thing read to you, you can highlight that and have it read to you.
TalkBack. Screen reader primarily for people with blindness and low vision. 7 of 7. Double tap to activate.
And TalkBack's here at the bottom. I'm not going to go into here because it basically just lets you turn it on and off. We already have it on. And it lets you change the shortcut if you want to. But the shortcut is already assigned to long pressing both volume keys because that's how we turned it on during setup. So we don't have to mess with any of this. I'm going to back out twice to get back to the original startup screen so we can get started.
Accessibility. Vision. Welcome to your Pixel. Accessibility. Button. Out of list. Double tap to activate.
So swiping right,
Get started. Button. Double tap to activate.
I will double tap to activate.
Settings. English. 2 of 7. In list. 7 items. Double tap to activate.
So this seems to be the language selection screen. I'm just going to double tap on English.
Settings. Choose a region. The region you choose affects how your device displays time, dates, temperature, and more. 1 of 132. In list. 132 items.
So I'm going to find my region.
Search regions. 2 of 132. Double tap to activate.
You can search if you want.
Suggested. 3 of 132. Australia. Canada. India. United Kingdom. United States. 8 of 132. Device setup. Set up using another device. Heading. Out of list.
So after you select your region, you get to this screen where you have the option to set up with another device if you want to. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to show you. I have another phone here that I'm just going to turn on.
10:54 a.m. Device unlocked. Set up Pixel 10 Pro XL. To get started, you'll scan a QR code to copy accounts and settings, transfer your SIM, and more.
So as you see, there's a pop-up on my other Android phone, and all I have to do
Close. Set up.
is double tap on this setup button, and it'll walk me through the process. But for this demonstration, I'm going to set up this phone from scratch. So back here on my Pixel, I'm going to swipe.
To copy settings, accounts, and more from another phone or tablet, keep it nearby and unlocked.
So that's what I just showed you.
Animation. Button. Pixel or Android device. Button. Double tap to activate.
So you could choose if you have a Pixel or Android device, or if you're coming from an iPhone.
iPhone or iPad. Button. Double tap to activate.
I haven't actually done this myself, transferring from an iPhone, so I don't know how much is actually copied over. It really depends on what Apple allows.
Skip. Button. Double tap to activate.
But I'm going to hit skip.
Connect to Wi-Fi. Select a network. 1 of 5. In list. 5 items. Ghost. Wi-Fi signal full. Secure network. 2 of 7. Double tap to activate.
So this is the network, my guest network at home. I'm going to connect to this one.
Ghost. Editing. Password. Password. Edit box. Out of list. Showing password keyboard.
The way Gboard is set up by default, which is the on-screen keyboard, you lift to type, so you'd put your finger down on the keyboard, slide it around until you find the key you want, and release the keyboard to have that key typed. That's how it works on all the letter keys. The other keys, like the enter key, for example, you have to double tap on those after you get them in focus to have them activated. So now that my password is in,
Done. Double tap to activate. Double tap and hold to long press. Actions available. Use tap with 3 fingers to view.
I'm going to double tap on done, which is the key at the very bottom right of the keyboard.
Connect to Wi-Fi. Keyboard hidden. Ghost. Obtaining IP address. Wi-Fi signal full. Secure network. 2 of 7. In list. 7 items. Double tap to activate. Getting your phone ready. Heading. Out of list. Checking for additional language content. SIM manager. eSIM available. Heading.
Now this is where it's going to ask you to activate your eSIM or insert a physical SIM if your device supports it. Or it's something you can also skip if you want to, but I already have an eSIM activated on this device, so I'm just going to hit next.
A SIM was previously set up on this phone. Next. Button. Double tap to activate. Just a sec. Verizon account activation. Phone activation. Heading. Phone activated. Your Verizon phone is now active. Your number is...
So it told me what my number was, but I'll cut that out of the recording.
Continue. Button. Double tap to activate.
I will hit the continue button.
Who are you setting this phone up for? Heading. Animation. Button. For myself. Button. Double tap to activate.
So it's going to ask you if it's for yourself or for a child. I'm going to hit myself.
Checking info. Heading. Account setup. Checking info. Heading. Google Play Services. Checking info. Heading. Sign in. Sign in. Google Accounts. Web view.
Now here's where you sign in.
Learn more about using your account.
This is not something that's necessary. You could hit skip if you wanted to, but you won't get access to many features if you don't. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in.
Edit box. Email or phone. Double tap to edit box. Email or phone. Showing English USQWERTY.
As you heard, you can enter your email or your phone number. I did my phone number because it's easier.
Go. Double tap to activate. Double tap and hold to long press.
I'm going to double tap on go at the bottom right of the keyboard.
Keyboard hidden. Welcome. Editing. Password. Edit box. Enter your password. Showing password keyboard.
And of course, now's where you have to enter your password. So I have inserted my password, and again, I'm going to hit go on the keyboard.
Password. 10 characters. Edit box. Enter your password. Keyboard hidden. Two-step verification to help keep your account safe. Google wants to make sure it's really you trying to sign in. Web view.
So I have to, now on my other phone, because I have two-factor, I'm going to turn it screen on.
11:07 a.m. Device unlocked. Google Play Services. Back. Google. Are you trying to sign in?
So I'm going to go ahead and confirm this.
No, don't allow. Yes, it me. Yes, it me. Loading.
Welcome.
Noble launcher.
Welcome. Web view.
And now I can continue on my other device.
Welcome. Heading 1. Document. We publish the so that you know what to expect as you use our services. By clicking, I agree, you agree to these.
So I'm going to stop that and just go ahead and hit agree. Of course, obviously, feel free to read this if you want.
Google Terms of Service. Google Play Terms of Service. Privacy Policy. I agree. Button. Double tap. SIM Manager. Checking network info. Pin area. Set a pin. Pin area. Edit box. Showing numeric password keyboard.
Now here's where you can set a pin. I'm just, for the sake of this demo, going to...
1. Window numeric password keyboard. Bullet. List. Pin must be at least 4 digits, but a 6-digit pin is recommended for added security.
Going to do 1, 2, 3, 4.
5. 2. Bullet. List. Pin must be at least 4 digits, but a 6-digit pin is recommended for added security.
So again, I'm just putting my finger down, moving it to the key I want, and releasing it.
5. 3.
So I'm going
Bullet.
to do 3
List. 4.
and 4.
Bullet. List.
And that's how you would do your pin. But actually, I'm not going to use a pin. That is one option, but I'm going to show you other options. So if you go to the edit box.
Editing. Pin area. 4 characters. Edit box.
So above this,
Double tap and hold to long press.
I'm going to swipe left.
Screen lock options. Button. Keyboard hidden. Screen lock options. Pattern. In list. Double tap to activate. Pin. Password. Double tap to activate.
So you have pattern, pin, or password. I'm going to do a pattern.
Pin. Pattern. Double tap. Set a pattern. For added security, set a pattern to unlock the device. Out of list.
Now, a pattern is just a grid of 9 dots, 3 by 3, and you can connect them in whatever way you want. I'll just give you an example.
Cell 3 added. Cell 6 added. Cell 9 added. Cell 8 added. Cell 7 added. Pattern recorded.
So I started at dot 3 and I went down 2 dots and to the left 2 dots to kind of draw a backwards capital L, if you know what that looks like. Once you've put in your pin or pattern, you're going to have to confirm it. So near the bottom right.
Next. Button. Draw pattern again to confirm. Draw your pattern again. Draw pattern again to confirm.
I'll go ahead and do that.
Cell 3 added. Cell 6 added. Cell 9 added. Cell 8 added. Cell 7 added. Your new unlock pattern. Confirm. Button.
Now I'm going to hit
Double tap to
confirm.
activate. Disabled. Set up fingerprint unlock. Use your fingerprints to unlock your phone or verify it's you in apps.
And now we get to record our fingerprint. I'm just going to swipe down to go by controls.
More. Button. Double tap to activate.
I'm just going to hit more. It scrolled it. I'm going to hit it again.
How to set up your fingerprint. The fingerprint sensor will be on the next screen. For the greatest flexibility, set up at least one finger on each hand. Animation. Double tap to resume.
Now there is an option on Pixels.
Set up with screen protector. Button. Double tap to activate.
And what this does is certain brands of screen protectors provide QR codes you can scan, and it's supposed to help you with getting your fingerprint recognized, but I'm not using a screen protector, so I'm just going to go to
Do it later. Button. Start. Button.
Start.
Double tap to activate. Touch and hold the fingerprint sensor. Move your finger across the screen to find the sensor. Touch and hold the fingerprint sensor. Touch and hold the fingerprint sensor. Heading.
So it's different on all devices, but on Pixel devices,
Move down. Move down.
as you heard,
Move left. Move left.
I'm intentionally missing it because it does direct you which way you need to go. So I'm going to just press my thumb where I think it needs to be.
Move down. Move down. Enrolling fingerprint 6%. Enrolling fingerprint 11%.
And what you're going to do is just going to press until you feel a vibration and release, and do this many times at different angles so that it captures your finger in all the possible ways it would touch the screen.
Enrolling fingerprint 16%. Move down. Enrolling fingerprint 21%. Move left. Move left. Enrolling fingerprint 42%. Tilt your finger and touch with the tip. Turn again and touch with the right edge. Enrolling fingerprint 94%. Enrolling fingerprint 100%. One fingerprint added. Now you can use your fingerprint to unlock your phone or verify it's you. You can add another fingerprint for extra convenience.
Okay, I'm not going to add another.
Add another fingerprint. Next. Button. Set up face unlock. Use your face to unlock your phone or verify it's you in apps.
So I'm going to go ahead and do this.
I agree. Button. Double tap to activate. How to set up face unlock. On the next screen, hold your phone at eye level. Set up for limited vision or head motion. When using face unlock, your head may need to be more directly in front of your phone. On. Switch. Double tap to activate.
So this is turned on because it knows we're using TalkBack and are probably not going to want to have to follow all the directions of turn your face this way, turn your face that way. So I'm going to leave this like this.
Skip. Button. Start. Button. Double tap to activate.
And I'm going to hit start.
Hold phone in front of your face. Do it later. Button. Double tap to activate. Looks good. Now when you pick up your phone or tap the screen, you can use your face to unlock. Face unlock works best when there's enough light and you're not wearing a mask or dark glasses. Button. Double tap to activate. Labels available. Use tap with 3 fingers to view.
Now I'm going to hit next.
Next. Button. Android switch. Copy apps and data. Heading.
And this will allow you to restore from backups if you have them.
You can choose to transfer your apps, photos, contacts, and more. Your apps will be installed after setup. Animation button. Double tap to pause. Do it later button. Next button. Double tap to activate. Just a few moments. Restore data from another device. Restore data from another device. Choose a backup. 1 of 4 in list 4 items.
So I chose next instead of do it later, so it's letting me choose from backups.
Galaxy S25 Ultra backup. 12 hours ago. 2 of 4. Double tap to activate.
I will restore from this.
Confirm your other Galaxy S25 Ultra screen lock. To decrypt your backup, enter your other device's screen lock on the next screen. Out of list.
So I'm going to have to hit
Don't restore button. Next button.
next,
Double tap to activate.
and then I'm going to have to put in my pattern for my Galaxy phone.
Confirm your other Galaxy S25 Ultra screen lock. Pattern area. Pattern completed. Choose what to restore. Choose what to restore. 16 gigabytes. 217 gigabytes total. Heading in list.
And now you can pick and choose what you want to restore. I'm just going to leave everything selected.
Synced automatically. Google Photos. View all your backed up photos and videos in the app. Gmail, Calendar, and Drive. Choose what to restore.
And here's what we have the option of restoring.
Apps. All 209 apps. Double tap to activate.
So if you go in here, it will let you pick and choose which apps you want to restore, but I'm going to leave them all selected. And then under this we have
Checked. Contacts. Device and SIM contacts. Checked. SMS messages. Double tap to toggle. Checked. MMS messages. 391 megabytes. Double tap to toggle. Checked. Device settings. Wi-Fi passwords and more. Double tap to toggle. Checked. Call history. Double tap to toggle.
So again, I'm leaving everything selected and I'm going to hit restore near the bottom right.
Restore button. Restoring your data. You can continue setting up your Pixel. Google services. 1 of 12 in list 12 items. Installing apps. Install 2 out of 179 applications.
And now here's where you can learn about Google services and choose which ones you want enabled or disabled. I'm just going to leave everything selected and hit more.
More button. Double tap to activate.
This is near the bottom right, and you can just keep double tapping it. It'll scroll the screen, and when you get to the bottom, it'll just go to the next page.
Android switch. Google services. Back up your device. 1 of 3 in list 3 items.
So this is asking if I want to turn on backup or not.
Turn on backup button. Out of list. Double tap to activate.
I'm going to select this near the bottom right.
Settings. Limited warranty. To view your limited warranty, select the country where you bought this device. The warranty is also available at settings then about phone then limited warranty and g.co/device warranty. 1 of 3 in list 3 items.
Again, I'm just going to hit next.
Next button. Out of list. Double tap to activate. Additional legal terms. I accept button. Double tap to activate.
Just going to hit accept.
Discover Google AI at its best. From everyday tasks to creative projects, Pixel's built-in AI helps you get more things done.
Going to turn this on.
Next button. Double tap to activate. Google. Meet Gemini, your personal AI assistant. Heading. Next button.
Next.
Double tap to Google. Go hands-free with Hey Google. Heading. No thanks. Button. Double tap to activate.
I'm going to hit no thanks because I don't like this turned on.
Device intelligence. Get helpful info and actions right when you need them. Heading. More. Button. Double tap to activate.
I'm going to hit more. And keep hitting it.
Pixel screenshots. Get the most out of your screenshots. Turn on. Button. Double tap to activate.
Turning this on.
Phone. Stop unwanted calls with Call Assist. Heading. Turn on. Button. Double tap to activate.
Again, if you want to explore and learn about these features, you can, but I'm just going to continue through.
Personal safety. Get peace of mind. Heading. More. Button. Double tap to. Next. Quick share. Let contacts nearby find and share with you. Heading. More. Button. Double tap to activate.
I will turn on quick share.
Google Pay. Check out fast with your phone. Heading. Next. Button. Skip. Button. Double tap to activate.
Skipping this for now.
Set up. Find your device and help others too. Heading. More. Button. Double tap to. Anything else? Heading.
And then here are the last few things you have the option of setting up. I'll just swipe through them so you can see what they are.
Set up a few more things now, or find them later in settings. Get instant translations. Identify music around you. Control info on lock screen. Auto adjust settings to environment. Prepare for an emergency. Change how text displays. Add another email account. Set up always on display. No thanks. Button, out of grid. Double tap to activate.
I'm going to choose no thanks.
Android switch. Getting your phone ready. Heading. All set. You're ready to start using your device. Installing apps and more. Tap to check setup progress and add finishing touches.
So here we are on the all set page. That took about a minute or two. I'll remove that from the recording so you don't have to sit there. Some of my settings were copied over. As you could hear, the speed is
Speech rate.
a little faster.
Speech rate 80. Speech rate 75%. Speech rate 68%.
Now on this all set page,
All set. You're ready to start using your device. System navigation settings.
you can go to system navigation settings if you want. It'll let you choose between using gestures or buttons. But if you don't go there,
Swipe up to go home.
it's just telling me swipe up to go home. I can do this by swiping up from the bottom of the screen with 2 fingers, since I have navigation gestures enabled, which was restored from my backup. Or I could just do the talkback home gesture, which by default is to swipe up and left.
All set. On top, select a home app on bottom. Pixel launcher. Select a home app.
And now it's asking me to select my home app because it's already downloaded some third-party launchers that I had restored from my account. But you'll most likely not have to do this.
Nova launcher. Select a home app. Window select Pixel launcher.
Just going to choose Pixel.
Just once. Always.
And hit always.
Home. Coastal flood advisory.
And here we are on the home screen, and apparently there's a coastal flood advisory in my area. That's the at-a-glance widget at the top of the home screen. But anyway, we're set up, and this concludes the demonstration. I hope it's been helpful. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, John. A couple of questions and observations I've got. Sally and Karine, because it seems too good an opportunity to miss to criticize Google. Do you want to say anything about language support for some languages other than English on setup?
Well, that's a big thing discussed a lot of times. If you have no internet connection at that time, like if you're not having your SIM card inserted, you don't have your language data downloaded through Google TTS. So it's like in some phones, when you continue setup process, you suddenly lose speech.
I think 1 or 2 are included, aren't there? I'm pretty sure Spanish is, because I got a Spanish phone from one of our second-hand phone shops, and that came up talking. But I'm guessing it's only a very few what Google considers to be widely spoken languages included.
Generally, the main languages are on there. So, for example, German, Spanish, Italian, and some of those languages. I may even think that Arabic is in there. I may be wrong, but so basically, you could choose the language. But I don't know if you buy a phone in your region, whether it comes up speaking in English or not when you enable accessibility. I haven't done that. I'm not outside of the state, so I have no clue. Let's say, for example, someone in Turkey or someone in Lebanon, where the pretty young lady is at, and you buy a new phone and you turn it on and you enable accessibility. I'm not sure if it comes up talking in English or if it comes up talking in your local language. Sally, help
For
me
me,
out.
like it's changed in Samsung. I installed my S25 Plus. At the first stage, it came speaking in Turkish, so that's a good step there. But I'm not sure about the other phones running stock Android or their own customizations. But on Samsung, it's changing these days. I can see a lot of languages coming pre-installed, like even Vietnamese or Indonesian. But on Google, I can see certain languages like English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, Italian, German, and French.
Are you sure
Have you
those
got
are
any
the
thoughts on
only
this?
languages? Those are the only languages on the Pixel when one taps on the languages?
Well, not for Pixel because I haven't tried it with a Pixel, but others like Xiaomi or others are just like that because they are using Google's TTS for the startup. But I'm not sure for Pixel, as I said.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, so this is one of those things. And like I always say, though, frankly, I think the most important thing is maybe you shouldn't have your SIM card in there, because if you have your SIM card in there and your language is not supported without downloading it, without the phone having access to the internet, you're going to be dead in water. And of course, if you don't speak any English at all, for example, and it comes up in English, it's not going to help you either. But I think that the thing is to not put in a SIM card, because it will be looking for stuff in your region and you're not connected to the internet, and you are not going to have TTS output.
So personally, I don't have any issue with that because I always use English and I never insert the SIM card before doing the setup. So this is something that I'm used to since many years. So, but the thing is, actually, if you have, for example, a language that the English TTS engine can't read, here will be a bigger problem. So, for example, if it tries to use English, but your language is Arabic,
like Russian maybe too, right?
I think, yeah, any language that doesn't use the Latin. I mean, like Turkish, it should be okay. I mean, it should try to read.
Yeah.
But like Arabic, like Chinese, so those languages, so Google TTS will just be silent when dealing with those languages. So this would be a bigger problem. Well, I think that Google should implement the solution of having all of the available languages, especially that already the TTS engine, the voice data isn't that big. So they could just include, and the system should just like install on the fly the engines or decompress them when it detects the language that you're going to use. So this should be the best solution. This should be on all phones. So people who can't use English or whatever problem happens, or if it detects that it's using, for example, another language because you have inserted your SIM card, so you shouldn't be like thrown in the cold. So this is what should happen.
Karine, that reminds me of a day when I got my Nexus 5, which was a Google phone. When I first installed it, it was able to speak in A-Speak using Turkish. I mean, that was kind of good because in those days, Google TTS has no support for Turkish, so it was using E-Speak.
E-Speak?
Yeah.
You mean, wait, did Nexus 5 have E-Speak?
I mean, when I like had the phone for the first time, like it was like 2014, and those days Google TTS had no Turkish voice. So when I installed my phone, like it first started with an English TTS, and when I chose Turkish, eSpeak guided me.
Are you sure? I remember that they were using Pico.
Yeah, that was eSpeak though, like eSpeak voice.
Maybe they were using
Well, the
eSpeak for Turkish.
the Pico and Pico or whatever, they both sound like e-speak anyway, to be honest.
No, the
It's
English.
a, it's,
No, the
it's
English
a hide
wasn't.
my ass TTS, as I call it.
No. You shouldn't compare eSpeak to Pico in any way because
No,
Pico is
e-speak
terrible.
is like real good. Come on.
Do
Yeah.
you think
Compared to Pico,
Pico
yeah.
is good? Oh,
No.
It is
Well, I
not.
think
It is not at
uh,
all.
yeah, it's bad. I mean, that's
Yeah,
it's the hide my ass TTS.
I really remember that thing because when I installed my phone, I could do it all by myself. When I chose Turkish, eSpeak was guiding me, and after that, I switched to Acapella. That was a great experience, though.
So that would have been Pico or Pico, because eSpeak, you have to actually install eSpeak. It
No,
didn't come on the phone,
I
right?
think if I remember correctly, they were using eSpeak for some languages. I think that I'm not sure, but I think they were
okay.
using.
Yeah, that was the thing because that was really useful for me. Like I could, okay, I said like, well, Google made it right. It was like more than 11 years ago that was working fine. So maybe like eSpeak is open source, so you could just have it for, or yeah, if you, as the current said, if you don't want to download all the devices in the package, you could have eSpeak too.
Yeah, so it really makes sense to me. If I were Google, we'll just
Mhm.
incorporate eSpeak in there for languages that are not supported by the Google TTS. In this way, even if you have your SIM card in there, for example, you start up the phone, it will see the region where you're from, and once you turn on accessibility, eSpeak should kick in and guide you through. And should you want to change to something on later on to a different TTS after the phone has been set up, then you could go for a better quality.
Yeah, that
TTS
was really nice. And trust me, Nexus 5 was one of the greatest phones that I ever used. Yeah.
The other thing to say as well is that it's much better now, isn't it, in terms of phones likely to have talkback available on the setup screen. I mean, certainly in the UK, US, Europe, you're not going to buy a phone from a mainstream retailer that won't have talkback on it setup. You know, now that it's a system app, so that is a lot less hit and miss than it was, isn't it?
Yeah. It was like super cool. Like you buy a phone and you don't know if the talkback is installed or not.
Yeah, so definitely we have better experience now than it used to be, because as you indicated, guys, more and more languages are being supported. Because I know Arabic wasn't there. Google TTS didn't support Arabic, and I'm glad that they finally did that. So it's one of those things to be thankful for.
When that happened, maybe 5 years ago.
Mhm.
So it's not really something new.
Well, but they've like the Arabic community were fighting a lot, like campaigns and stuff. I remember those days. A lot of people were like sending comments to Google saying why.
Yeah, we
Arabic is
signed
not
petitions
included.
as well, and
Yeah.
there were campaigns. But they created a good set of voices. I should say that about Google. I should compliment them for that, because they really created one of the best available engines on Android when it comes to Arabic.
And you still don't use it.
No, I do use it. I use it, of course.
Karen,
Okay, Karen,
like,
I'm
you-
gonna ask you to play a little Arabic TTS, from Google here.
So this is the voice one. Is
This
it
is
fast?
voice
Yeah,
two.
it's fast.
This is voice
Yeah, it's
two.
voice two. Yeah, it's kind of fast too. So, oh no, it's like Lego. I mean, it will be difficult.
So Sally, you
Mhm.
switched to that Arabic. How are you gonna find
No,
your
I'm just
your
playing
way
the
back?
samples from Google TTS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if you switch to it, how are you gonna find your way back?
The Arabic voice is able to speak the English characters. Okay, it speaks them in an Arabic accent, but you can understand them. So this is the difference. When you are using Arabic, it can't read English can't read Arabic, but Arabic can read English.
Got it.
Back in the days of Symbian, we were in the pub and my boss went out for a cigarette, and we'd all had quite a lot of beer, so we thought it might be entertaining to change his Nokia to Turkish. Not the speech, the actual screen. So someone went in and did that. He was very unhappy with us, and then we had to ring Nokia to get it fixed. And the guy at Nokia was finding this very, very funny indeed that someone had done this.
Yeah. It's like when I went to France, I had a Nokia phone and I got a local SIM card in there and it came up touche and I'm like, doggone. And I had to have someone help me switch to English because everything just was in French. Just absolutely crazy.
Should we move on to talk a little bit about how the setup process might vary between manufacturers? And I think the first thing to say is that very helpful thing that Google does in terms of vibrating, not just when your phone turns on, but vibrating when it's ready for setup. You're not going to get that pretty much anywhere else, are you?
And that's a problem. Yes, that's a problem because if you're blind, and this is where sometimes a lot of people run into problems, is because they're not sure when they are on that setup screen. And it's important that these manufacturers try to find a way to implement a system whereby a blind person knows when they are on that setup screen to start setting up the process or, enable accessibility. As it is, most phones don't let you know that. And it's only Google, that heartbeat thing, the pulsating thing that I refer to as the heartbeat that lets you know you're now on the setup screen. Other than that, Samsung was the one that did something really nice. It actually would come up and say, hey, if you're blind, do XYZ to turn up or turn on accessibility. And for some reason, they backed off. This was the Galaxy S7 that has that feature. I almost fell off my chair because I got it for my wife and I turned it on and it came up talking. I'm like, there, this is how it ought to be. And then the subsequent phones, they backed off. So what should we do? Because I know they're kind of afraid someone is going to have it on. Sometimes people are kind of stupid. It already tells you, use it only if you're blind, but people get into it anyway, and then they can't find their way out. So I think that's why the manufacturers are kind of shying away from doing something like that. But I think that Fruitvale does have, no, Fruitvale doesn't either, right?
It used to. I haven't used one for ages, but the Apple phones and I think MacBooks as well would do that on first launch. You were stuck if anyone had ever turned that phone on before. So sometimes carrier phones it wouldn't work with, but a phone bought from an Apple store certainly used to do that, as Samsung did. And interestingly, my Sony TV running Google TV or Android TV or whatever it is, that does. If you turn it on, it takes quite a long time. So if you haven't done anything on setup, it assumes you probably can't see the screen and powers talk back on.
Yeah, so it's a problem, and I can see where they're coming from, but of course, like I always say, no one goes to bed thinking about us. So, but I'm glad that Google actually implemented that. Or if they could just make a sound, for example, letting us know you're now on the setup screen, or just that vibration, keep pulsating like Google does. I think that's good enough for me. Of course, if you don't know that, you wouldn't know that. Yeah.
Or whatever that Nokia one was.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you've got a couple of strategies, haven't you? So what you might find yourself doing is trying to hold down those up and down volume buttons, as John said. And one of two things might happen. You might have done it too early, or you might have done it too late. And if you have done it too late, the problem you might have is that your screen might have turned off. So if you think, I really have waited long enough now, why isn't this turning on? Maybe just tap your side button and try it again.
That is always the best thing to do. I would rather have my screen time out or, shut off the screen than try to activate it when it's not there. So my rule of thumb is to always wait, give it at least a minute or more, because it depends on the phone and how long it takes it to get there. So like you said, Ed, even if the screen waits and waits for you and then shuts off, at least if you tap the power button, it brings it back to life. So if you waited long enough and held down those two volumes and nothing happens, that would indicate that the screen is off. I mean, the phone is not off, but the screen is off. So at this point, just tap the power button and then hold down those buttons again, the up and down volumes again, and that should work. So I think that's better than try to do something funny when it's not quite there. and wind up activating something that you are not supposed to activate.
And if we look at individual setup processes themselves, perhaps predictably, the one that varies most is Samsung, isn't it? And Samsung will want to use, if you are going to transfer data from a device to your new device, it will want to use the Smart Switch app. So, Karine, what sort of job do you think the Smart Switch app does? Do you like it?
When it works, yeah, but the problem is, well, I remember once it was trying to update it before doing the restoration or the data transfer, actually, but it refused to update until I think I updated it through Play Store. So it was trying to update it through Galaxy Store. It refused to do it until I did it through the Play Store. I don't know why, but yeah, Smart Switch does some weird stuff sometimes. So, but it's good when it works. It works well. It's able to transfer the data usually well. While some applications don't support this data transfer, so even if it shows you that that everything is working well, you would have to reinstall the app sometimes or clear the data. This is true for apps like Acapella, for example, and Vocalizer. I remember that I had to reinstall them from scratch after doing the data transfer. But yeah, it's good. I think I don't know if you can just compare it to what Google offers, for example. I mean, it's able to transfer all of the files, all of the stuff. So I don't know if you use the cable with the Pixel, does it transfer everything?
If you use the cable, it's not going to transfer everything. I mean, it just transfers the signatures, the apps, and all of that, but it doesn't mean that it brings back all the data and all of that. The whole idea is that it speeds the process. For example, instead of taking whatever minutes, for example, when I do mine, say I'm setting up my Pixel 10 and I hook up my Pixel 9 to it, it will take me about 6 or 7 minutes to have everything up and running on the home screen. And because I enable both the Wi-Fi transfer and the cable, so it takes less time to get those things in there. But then when it gets to that home screen, of course, all your home screen is the way that you had it on the other phone. For example, all your apps and folders are there, but still the apps are being downloaded. It doesn't mean that your apps are downloaded.
Even if you use the cable?
Yes, even if you use the cable, it's not going to automatically bring, yeah. So it's just a matter of choice, which one is faster. But the whole idea is just to make sure that your setup, the way that you had it earlier on your other phone, remains the same. And whether you use that cable or you sign into your Google account, it's just that if you sign into the Google account, it's probably a little bit slower. But like I said, with the newer phones, you can use both the cable and the Wi-Fi at the same time. And in my case, it takes about 7 minutes and all of the stuff is there. But then it continues to download the apps in the background.
So Samsung's solution is much better if you look at it after knowing this fact, because Samsung would just transfer the data offline. You don't need internet. And it will also transfer the files as well, ringtones, any media files that you have. So I think it's superior to what you get with Pixels. So I'm good with what Samsung offers, actually.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, if you have files, it will get the files as well. But the apps doesn't mean that the apps are functioning at that moment. No, they'll continue to download in the background. It will tell you whatever is complete, but then it's still downloading your apps from the Play Store.
The thing you said about home screens is interesting, Warren, because that can depend a little bit on the phones and the launchers. So where it gets kind of interesting is if you are transferring to a phone where your launcher can't come across. So the obvious example would be Samsung to Pixel or vice versa. If you haven't changed it to a third-party launcher because obviously you can't run the Pixel launch on the Samsung and vice versa. So interesting things can happen to your home screens. In my experience, it sort of tries to bring them across, but obviously it's gonna have to be a little bit different. So you might find your mileage varies a little bit.
Indeed, it does differ. For example, I noticed that for my Samsung device, even if I choose to sign in with my Google account, in order for my home screen to come back the way that it is, I have to bring back my restoration from the Samsung cloud. That way, then my home screen would be the way it was when I reset the device or when I got a new device, that's a Samsung device. And so it seems like it's only the Google Pixel phones that, for example, if you're restoring from the backup, then it'll bring up your home screen the way it was. But if you do, I don't know, I know that Motorola doesn't do it well for me either. If I say, hey, bring my stuff from my Google account, it doesn't bring up my home layout the way I had it. Let's say I'm restoring from a Pixel device.
Yeah, that's right. Third-party launchers do eliminate this because obviously it's just pulling it down like any regular app. So they should be maintained when you do it. Certainly when I use Hyperion Launcher typically, and whenever I've restored between two Hyperion Launcher running phones, regardless of what brand they are, it has come across properly. Are there any other differences you've noticed between different manufacturers in terms of setting up Android phones, or do we think Samsung's the main difference?
I think that the OnePlus has something a little bit different. I don't remember what it is, but on the setup screen, I don't remember what it is, but there's something a little bit different about it. I recall that when I was doing that in my unboxing of the OnePlus, I noticed that that's a little bit different on that setup screen. That's the only one that I can remember that's a little bit different. Other than that, most of them that I have tried, especially like Motorola or Nokia phones and the other ones, they're based mainly on the Pixel UI in some degree. And so everything is kind of the same.
Yeah, they might invite you to create an account or log into an account in addition to Play Store, mightn't they? So we touched on Samsung account a little bit. That'll happen. I'm pretty sure Sony does. I'm pretty sure Xiaomi does. So you might have two accounts it's inviting you to create or sign into.
Well, they all do it actually. Honor does it. Huawei used to do it. Every company asks you to create an account, but usually you can skip it. And one thing which is very important, people shouldn't be feeling like it's an overwhelming process to set up a phone. Actually, some people just ask the shop owner sometimes if they are bringing the phone from a shop to do it. But actually, it's meant to be consumer friendly. So usually everything is just explained. Everything is simple, except if there is an accessibility issue with the screen itself. But usually it's something that is, as I said, meant to be consumer friendly, so people shouldn't feel like it's something very complicated. They just try to take it easy and it should work.
That's right. One question we do get quite often is, can I do things like pair a Bluetooth keyboard before I have to type anything like my email address or my Wi-Fi password? And the answer to that, I think, although interested in others' views, is yes, because what you can do on pretty much all the setup screens, as Karine said about accounts, is skip. So if you're on the Wi-Fi screen and you get the list of Wi-Fi networks, obviously most people probably just set it up, but if you do scroll, I think on most phones there is a skip. So if you're not comfortable typing on a touchscreen just yet, I think you can skip your way through setup. Then pair your keyboard. The problem you're then going to have is, though, that exactly where to find the various steps you should have completed in setup might be a little bit complicated. So your better option might be, if you're not confident to type it right now, is to have someone do that. But at a pinch, in my experience anyway, I think you can skip it. Is that what everyone else has found as well?
But there's one problem, which is, at least with Google restoration, I remember that there wasn't a way to go ahead and restore if you already didn't do it when you first set up the screen, the phone actually. So this means that you have to start from scratch. Well, I think with Smart Switch, when using Samsung, this won't be a problem because you can just run Smart Switch after the setup process and just do the restoration. But if it's still the same, well, correct me if I'm wrong, Warren, but I remember that Google didn't give you any chance or any option to do a restoration after you have passed it with when you are on the setup screen.
Yeah, so I think what Ed is saying is this, though. For example, I could decide to skip everything. All I do is enable accessibility, then skip the Wi-Fi setup, skip the signing into the account or creating a new account, and just go straight, just accept the licensing and all of that, and just get to the home screen. And then you can pair your Bluetooth keyboard. And now, whether you're using Google phone or whatever manufacturer it is, you go into the settings, you go to accounts and tap on accounts. First, actually go into settings and then tap on Wi-Fi and connect to the Wi-Fi. You have your keyboard already working, and then go into accounts there in the settings and tap on add account, and it will take you through the setup as though you are starting from the setup screen, and that works.
Does it restore? Does it give you the option to restore?
Yes, it will restore everything.
Does it? Are you sure?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. As sure as the sun comes up in the morning, if you do it that way, you tap add account and then you choose to sign in, and it will take you whether you want to bring your apps from another phone or from your the cloud. It works that way. I've done that way several times.
Okay, so they have corrected that issue. I remember that this was the case before, so they didn't.
No. The case before is that if you sign in at the beginning and you skip that restoration or backup, bringing in your backup, then you are not going to be able to get it back. But even now, if you do it the way that I just described, or if you just go like nowadays, if you just go into the settings, you go into the Google account, there's a backup or restore in there that Google already has in there. So it's different than what it was. But even without this new feature where you could say, restore my apps, if you skipped everything and didn't sign in, and you go turn on Wi-Fi and then go tap on add an account and you choose Google, it will take you through the process as though you are doing it on the very first setup screen, and you can bring your stuff in.
What's really annoying is one of our second-hand phone chains seems to do this quite a lot. I think because they think it will be easier for people if something approximating a home screen comes up rather than the setup screen. So before they sell you a phone, they skip the setup. Problem for us, of course, then is obviously TalkBack won't load when you press the volume buttons. So it's sensationally annoying. And I have asked them not to do it, but I think they still do.
Yeah, it makes it harder for a blind person because now you need to find someone to enable accessibility. That's assuming that the volume keys are not working for you or whatever, because some devices may not do it after you've skipped all of that. But I think that nowadays we can enable accessibility even if it wasn't set up and someone just skipped through all of that. So yeah, I can see that. I've purchased some phones on eBay, for example, that the people think, oh, it would be easier for you to just skip and set it up to where it's now on the home screen. And when you turn it on, it takes you to the home screen. I don't want that. I want to go through that process of, set up the screen. So for me, if I get such a phone, I try to enable accessibility. And most of the time is if it's one of those newer phones that we have, for example, that supports, the enabling of the accessibility, even after someone has set it up, then most of the time it works.
Excellent.
Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight.
Now we turn to our spotlight section, and we are going to talk about some developments from Google, as I indicated at the start of the episode. And we're going to begin with the release of quarterly platform release 2 beta 3. Warren, do you want to talk about what's new in this?
Yeah, so now we have QPR 2 beta 3, and not a lot is happening here. Most of these things are visuals that don't matter much to those of us who are blind. If there's anything that has to do with accessibility that I can think of, then it has to do with the fact that if you're someone with a low vision and you like using that magnification, for example, in there now you can choose to unblur. In other words, it used to be that if you turn on magnification, some things are blurry, but now that fixes it. And so that's the most important thing that relates to us. And alongside with that, also Google pushed out the October security patch. Samsung also did the same thing. And there are some 16 items or corrections or fixes that Google brought with this QPR, or rather October 2025 security patch. And these are some of those. I'm going to read through these things as quickly as I can. 1, Google Play system updates were failing to install for some users. 2, home screen shortcuts appeared as blank gray circles. 3, the wallet icon on your lock screen could sometimes appear with incorrect coloring. 4, battery charge to 100% when adaptive charging is turned on. And I know some people have noticed that. I think I saw that maybe on one of my phones. I don't remember which ones it was. Even though I wanted it to stop at 80, it just went to 100 as well. 5, the swipe up gesture from the bottom occasionally stopped working. 6, your selected theme might not apply on the first attempt. 7, 50 MB images captured with the ultra-wide or telephoto lens display rainbow artifacts. 8, poor battery life due to excessive CPU usage by the launcher, particularly on foldable devices. 9, calls could incorrectly route Bluetooth audio. 10, users in New Zealand could not access all 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi networks. 11, the terminal app would crash if you changed your device's UI font size while it was opened. 12, users couldn't type selected characters like star, @ or pound in the GUI terminal. 13, simultaneously swiping lock screen widgets and the notification shade caused buggy animations and a laggy, unresponsive UI. 14, the screen sometimes became unresponsive or froze when unlocking the device. 15, display freezes and screen noise. And 16, unexpected device crashes. Those are the fixes that came with that October. And so whether you get the October security patch or you got the QPR, they all have that fixes. And Samsung also pushed out for the S25 and S24 series a total of 26. There are 14 from Google and 12 that are exclusive to Samsung. And so those are some of the stuff that we have, and we'll put some of the URLs in there so you could read these things on your own. But that's what we have in the way of this. And by the way, the QPR2, the beta 3 is the final for that QPR2. And in December, we'll see that QPR2 drop as a featured drop if you have a supporting Pixel device.
And do you want to remind us which Pixels are currently supported with quarterly platform release?
Yeah, I think all of the Pixel phones, the Pixel 6, I'm not sure I saw it in there, but the Pixel 10 Fold, for example, I know it wasn't part of the QPR, but I believe that it is now. But other than that, all of these Pixel phones will qualify for this QPR. And by the way, by the time it drops in December, of course, all of them will have it. I'm sure even the Pixel 6, if it doesn't have it right now, I don't remember if it says it does or not. I know that last time when we got something in June, for example, the security patch in June for the Pixel phones, the Pixel 6 series did not have it and got its own back in August. So it could be something like that again.
So let's talk about some other news from Google, and some of this is quite interesting, and it's about increasing efforts to protect us from increasingly sophisticated scams. There'll be a blog in the show notes where you can read about this, but it's essentially it's trying to help both tackle scams that are getting more sophisticated by blocking links it thinks might be malicious, but also recognizing that some security measures can make usability a little bit difficult. And there's an interesting new method of account recovery, isn't there, Warren?
I particularly like that account recovery because I'm speaking as someone who have experienced some of these things, especially. So what we're talking about here is the account recovery. For example, you forgot your password or you don't have the phone to authenticate, or, could you choose your recovery method? Do we send it to your phone and you don't have that phone, or your email, you forgot to put in a recovery email, or you don't have access to that? So Google is doing something different where it has what we call a trusted contact for recovery, for example, and it allows you to have up to 10 people that you could use as your contact recovery, for example. So if you forget your password or can get in for some reason and you're locked out, you could use that and choose, hey, send one of the codes to my contacted or trusted contacts, and they will send that to you. And I think I like that because it is a very good way to do that. So for example, say Warren dies or something, and my family is trying to log into my account and they can get in because they don't know my password, for example, or whatever the case may be. They could hit one of those trusted contacts, and it'll just send it to them, and they'll be able to log in and change my passwords and stuff like that. So for me, I think this is a good thing. It depends on the person you're talking to, but it doesn't mean that because that person is a trusted contact, they have access to your account. No, they can't. They cannot log into your account because they are trusted. The only thing that they have access to is if you are in trouble and you have another way of authenticating that, yes, it's me and I can get in and I need a way to get in, then it will send that thing to them and they will give it to you so you can get in. But they themselves cannot get in. Does that make sense? So it's, for example, let's say Ed made me one of his trusted contacts. I can't just willy-nilly get into Ed's account no matter what I do.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
And you talked about the messages, Ed, the other one you mentioned. The whole idea is, so I'm corresponding with Ed or Karine or Sally, for example, and someone could pretend to be Sally or Karine or Ed and, maybe hijack their number or a SIM swap or whatever for some reason and hijacked it. And the system would know if it's not coming from Ed because if I have verified it. So you have to go into messages, you tap on, let's say I got a message from Ed and I tap on that message and I tap on that more options there on the top right, and I'll go into the message details. And therein I will see if it is verified or if it has a verification key or not. Some phones you have to download it. We'll put the URL for the verifier from the Play Store. I noticed that on my Pixel 10 XL Pro, it already has it. But on my Pixel 9 Pro XL and Pixel 8 and others, I don't see it. I have to download it. Up next is the App of the Week segment. This is a segment dedicated to app demonstrations. Should you have an app that you would like to demonstrate for our listeners, feel free to send us the recording of such an app demo to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your app of the week.
Next, we have our App of the Week segment, and thank you to Jacob Kruger, who has sent in a demonstration of a reader which supports many of the South African languages, and this is Umsizi Reader.
This is just a short demo of the software called Umsizi. Umsizi, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Just to give you an idea of what it does with natural languages in the South African languages. I've only got 2 samples here, but it'll give you an idea, but I'll show you what other languages there are.
Title. Read the title in your hand. Wikipedia. Search on the web. A selection of popular websites. Title. Clipboard. Read text from the clipboard. Camera tab 2 of 4.
You can take photos and do OCR and it'll try to automatically detect the language.
Library tab 3 of 4. Settings tab 4 of 4.
If you go in here. But basically it has all the natural South African languages, English, Afrikaans, Sotho, Sepedi, Setswana, Xhosa, Zulu, and all of those available.
Explore content. Weather. Get weather for web. A selection of popular websites.
Not sure what all these do. I haven't explored that much too far yet.
Wikipedia title. Read clipboard. Read text. Selected. Next. Camera tab 2 of 4. Library tab 3 of 4.
Going to the library now. I've got this English book and an Afrikaans book here that I just want to show you so you can hear what I'm talking about.
Library selected. Brolops and Turtle.
Okay. To say that name, it's Brolops en Pittergal by C.E. Langenhoven. That's the Afrikaans name and author of this section of Afrikaans book. I'm just going to start reading and you'll hear how it switches to the right language and a natural sounding voice automatically.
Dit lê tussen die lange berge en die see. En van die berge af na die see loop diep klowe wat oorgroei is met houtbosse. In een van die klowe is daar 'n gat onder 'n kraans wat diep in die berg inloop, wat 'n grot of 'n spilling genoem word. En so 'n gat het lank gelede in een van die klowe is daar 'n gat onder, en so 'n gat het lank, sy naam was ou Brolox en hy was 'n mensvreter en 'n towenaar. En saam met hom het 'n meisie geboorte, daar in dieselfde spilling.
Out there, now I'm going to go into the next one, the English book. This is a book by Dr. Seuss, just because these are samples that are, old enough.
New York and simultaneously in Canada by Random House of Canada Limited, Toronto, and deep in the Grickle grass. Some people say, if you look deep enough you can still see today, where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was...
Paused it, I'm going to try something now. I'm actually just curious.
What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the Grickle grass grows?
Which is always a good sign for these.
The old Onceler still lives here.
I think it can read.
Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in it.
Yeah. Besides that, I think you can share content from outside sources with it, as well as, like I say, taking a photograph and having it run OCR. So it's quite nice. And main thing is it has natural sounding languages for the official South African languages, as far as I know, almost all of them. So, yeah. Okay, I see that if I go to the tabs at the bottom now, I'll go through them quickly. Explore that has basic sources. You can have a look quickly.
Explore content.
Go and
Selected.
explore.
Web. A selection of popular weather. Get weather forecasts for your area.
I haven't tried these out, but there's
Web. A selection of popular websites. Wikipedia. Search and read Wikipedia articles.
Wikipedia.
Bible. Read the Bible in your language.
Read the Bible in your language. I think it has all the native versions of the Bible.
Clipboard. Read text from the clipboard.
Clipboard. Okay.
Selected. Explore tab 1 of 4.
So explore tab at the bottom left.
Camera tab 2 of 4.
Camera tab, that's where it lets you take a photo and do optical character recognition on the contents of the picture, but it uses seems to use the native camera before it processes it.
Library tab 3 of 4.
Library is where I found those 2 books that I've imported. You do that using an add button at the bottom right.
Settings tab 4 of 4.
And if I go into settings here at the right hand bottom
Settings
right,
selected. Ticked on. Autoplay content. Preferred language English button.
To show you the languages, there's preferred language. It'll just be obviously your default language if it doesn't detect it. Let's have a look here.
Pop-up menu. Afrikaans button.
Afrikaans,
English button.
English,
Ndebele button.
Ndebele,
Xhosa button.
Xhosa,
Zulu button.
Zulu,
Northern Sotho button.
Northern Sotho,
Southern Sotho button.
Southern Sotho,
Tswana button.
Setswana,
Swati button.
Siswati,
Venda button.
and Venda,
Songa button.
and Tsonga,
Dismiss.
and dismiss here. But that will just give you an idea of all the languages that it offers.
I mean, whether it's a TTS or natural sounding voices built into these apps, I think it's really important that languages often overlooked are included, isn't it? I mean, that's one of the great things about the likes of eSpeak and RH Voice, isn't it? You know, the synthesizers, or in this case, AI generation, where a lot of these minority languages are being picked up now.
That's right. And especially, some of the African languages do not have TTS support. And so I am kind of happy to see this app there in South Africa. And another thing I want to mention here, talking to Jacob, yes, you can actually, using this reader, besides hearing it speak through the TTS output, you could also access the text of the whatever that you are reading because it's exposed to the screen reader. So that's a good thing, because if you're reading something and you come across a word whose spelling you do not know, it's always important to have that text exposed to the screen reader so you could find the spelling of that particular word you're after. And 11 Labs reader, I'm looking at you. You need to do that, because as mighty as you are, that's a huge shortcoming there. Coming up is our Tip of the Week segment. This is a segment where we show you a trick or two on how to use a certain feature on your phone or in a given app. If you have a tip that you would like to share with our listeners, feel free to send us such a tip to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your Tip of the Week.
We close this week's episode with the tip of the week from Warren, who shows you how to prioritize messages in Google Messages by pinning them to the top of your conversations list.
Hi, Warren here for Blind Android Users Podcast. For episode 254, Tip of the Week, this is demonstrating how to manage your messages. In other words, I'm talking about how to prioritize your messages that you would like to be at the top. For example, if you have lots of messages and there are those that you want to be prioritized, then you want to make sure that those are pinned to the top, so that regardless of the number of messages that you have, the ones from the people that you want to prioritize will always be at the top. For this demonstration, I'm utilizing my Pixel 10 Pro XL running Android QPR 2 Beta 3. Here's how to go about doing that. Step 1. Find the message or the contact that you want to have to the top. I'm going to demonstrate here using John, for example.
Sent to John Dyer, please. Do it when you have...
So here's John, and I'm going to just double tap and long pressed on it.
Sent to John Dyer. Showing items 5 to 16.
Now that I have long pressed on John Dyer, we got those toolbars there at the top. If you start from the top left corner of your phone, you will hear done, meaning one message has been selected, or I'm done with the selection. So you got, starting from the top, we've got
done button.
And to the right of that,
1.
The number of messages that were selected. In this case, we selected 1. Moving right.
Pin to top button.
We have pin to top, and that's what we want. And to the right of that, we've got 4 buttons. We got
snooze notifications, archive button, delete button,
and
more options button.
But what we want to do, though, is pin John Dyer to the top. I'll now tap on pin to top.
Pin to top, but pinned 1 of 20 conversations messages.
There we go. So I have now pinned a John Dyer to the top of the list. So regardless of the number of messages I get hereafter, even if I have 100 messages, and even if I haven't had anything from John, his would be there at the very top. And that's how you go about prioritizing what messages stay at the top. And in the event that you've changed your mind and you want to get John from the top of your list, all that needs to happen is to repeat the same process. In other words, find John Dyer, long press on it, and tap on Unpinned. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Sent to John Dyer, please. Showing toolbar for action.
And now that I have long pressed on John Dyer, all I have to do is tap on
Unpin from top button.
And if I tap here,
39,700.
There we go. There's no more John there at the top. And that's how you go about prioritizing what messages stay at the top. And like I said, when you're tired of having that person at the top, just simply long press on it and go tap on Unpin. And that would conclude this week's Tip of the Week. If you like what we're doing, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Until next time, thanks for listening.
I think one thing, just to clarify, and thank you to John for pointing this out on our private Telegram podcast crew group, is that pinning a message, pinning one message, will make sure it stays at the top of your list, regardless of how recent the conversation last message was. So if you get a text from a non-prioritized message, the pinned message is going to stay above it, as you'd expect. Where that starts to change a little bit is if you pin more than one conversation. So let's say Warren thinks that we are all very important as co-hosts, so we all get pinned to the top of his group. Those pinned messages will shift about in their pinned positions depending on who texts when. So it's almost its own little hierarchy. Like they will all four of them would stay, or five of them would stay pinned above everything else, but the order of those pinned messages will change whenever that conversation receives a recent message.
Yeah, and that makes sense because the whole idea is that the prioritized people are staying on top. And so if I add Ed first, and then I add John second, Karen third, if I got a message from Karen and I didn't get a message from John or Sally or Ed, even if Karen was the last person I added to the pinned list, her message would show up on the top because she's the one with the latest message. But the whole idea is that at least you know that the prioritized ones are always there on the top. And that's the whole premise of pinning messages. You don't have to be going through the clutter of messages to find, for example, because sometimes I want to look at something that John sends me, but because I haven't had any message from him in a long time, I have to scroll and scroll or do a search to find it. But now with that, at least it will be among the very first ones. And so it sure comes in very handy. All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us.
Well, that's it for this week, folks. John, you're not here, but how can people get in touch with us?
To contact us, simply send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. If you'd prefer, you can leave a voicemail by calling +1 307 202 9797. You can join our mailing list by sending a blank email to blindandroidusers plus subscribe @groups.io. You can join our Facebook and Telegram groups or subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links in the podcast show notes or YouTube video description. And you can find all of this information and more at our website, blindandroidusers.com.
And don't forget, everyone, join us next week. It'll be great to talk to you and see you all here if you can make it. Let's say bye-bye to the nice people, everybody.
Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate you guys listening to us week in, week out. Again, don't forget, next week is the big week. We're looking forward to seeing you guys. Come on, let's chat, have some fun. From me, though, I want to say goodbye. Cheerio, guys. And as always, keep them home fires burning.
Hope to see you all next week. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening, guys. Cannot wait to see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. Until we see you next week, don't forget to leave us your comments and suggestions via our email contact or using any of our social media sites. Have a great week.